And this 10 days Australia travel itinerary will go into the most iconic locations, check out transport options and recommended tours for your trip of a lifetime. Here's a quick overview for this Australia trip in 10 days. You would arrive in Sydney, have 3 nights. Then take a domestic flight to Cairns and transfer to Port Douglas, have 4 nights. Back to Cairns and a domestic flight to Ayers Rock, have 2 nights in Ayers Rock. Then take another domestic flight back to Sydney. So let's get started with the most important travel point here, weather conditions. The best travel season for this 10-day itinerary in Australia is between April and October. Between December and March, the northern regions of Australia have their rainy and cyclone season, while the Outback has its hot season, which is very hot. So any travel dates between December and March are no good for this travel itinerary. Another important point is on how to get around. To cover the huge distances and make the most out of your time, I highly recommend to use domestic flights and stay 2 to 3 nights at each location. For the Cairns Port Douglas region, I do recommend to have at least 3 to 4 nights as there's so much to do. I'll go through the itinerary locations regarding transport, activities and tours very soon, so stay tuned. If you find this video helpful, please hit the subscribe button below to stay in touch for more helpful travel videos to come. Now let's get back to the itinerary. Many international travelers will arrive in Sydney. I suggest to stay 3 nights. You will have then 2 full days to explore the city and the surrounding areas. I would also recommend to stay in central Sydney in walking distance or a short Uber ride to the ferry terminal and other key attractions. You can download my sample itinerary planner in the description box below with hotels, tour and transport suggestions. So for your first full day in Sydney, I recommend walking tours, sightseeing tours. You want to check out maybe the Sydney Harbour cruises. There's also an option to go kayaking in Darling Harbour. You can visit the Sydney Opera House. You do the bridge climb Sydney. You can do lifestyle and foodie tours. So there are many places to check out. The list is sheer endless. Also, many travelers want to check out Bondi Beach, which is accessible by public transport, or you can do it as part of your guided city tour. The other thing is you can head over to Manly Beach by just jumping on a ferry, and that makes it nice and convenient. Overall, it obviously depends on your interests, on what you want to do and what you want to see. But those are my first suggestions for the day 1. For your second full day, again, it depends a little bit on your interests, but in my job as a travel designer, many of my guests very much enjoy a guided day tour to the Blue Mountains. The scenery, the nature trails and the walks are such a refreshing contrast from the Sydney city vibe. I have all the links on the tours in the description box below, so please check them out. Also, if you have any questions on this itinerary, please put them into the comments field below and I will answer them for you. After your 3-day stay in Sydney, get a transfer to Sydney Airport and take a domestic flight to Cairns. From Cairns Airport, either get a shuttle transport or rent a car and head further north to Port Douglas. See some rental car links in the description box below. Stay for 4 nights in Port Douglas if possible with your overall time frame. There might be a reason for you to cut this to 3 nights, but I'll talk about this situation soon. Personally, I like Port Douglas more than Cairns, as it is smaller and has more of a village feel. If you base yourself in the center, you can pretty much walk to any sites and restaurants, etc. Also, I've done another dedicated video on the region, its tours and attraction options, so check this one out, it's really helpful up here. Anyway, here's a quick overview on what to do around the Port Douglas Cairns region. You really need to have one full day for the Great Barrier Reef and one full day for the Daintree forests. Both sites are stunning and very much worth your visit. So for your first full day in the area, I recommend to go sailing into the Great Barrier Outer Reef with a snorkeling and sailing tour with Sail Away, or you can do an intro dive with 𝗟𝗏𝗃𝗃𝗍. Those are my two favorite recommendations for the area. On your second day, head north to the Daintree Rainforest National Park. Best to do that with Billy T safaris or the privately guided Daintree Wanderer. So for the third full day, you could either relax in 𝗏𝗏𝗃𝗃𝗍 on the stunning 4-mile beach, or you could join another full day tour into the Outback, into the 𝗥𝗏𝗃𝗃𝗍. Head into the Kuranda area, visit the wildlife habitat outside 𝗏𝗏𝗃𝗃𝗍, go fishing, or do an Aborigine tour. Again, check out the video up here for the region with far more details about the options you have. Then transfer back to Cairns and take a domestic flight to Ayers Rock. For this flight, you will need to be aware that flight connections into Ayers Rock can be a little bit tricky, especially if you want to fly directly. Also, it pays to do a little bit of a browse on flight dates and times, as sometimes airlines do not fly these sections every day or they have awkward times. Another suggestion, if your flight time doesn't work with your travel dates, is to reverse the itinerary and fly from Sydney to Ayers Rock first, and then to Cairns, and then back to Sydney. Sometimes that works quite well. So just keep that in mind. Again, see details in the downloadable sample itinerary document with the handy Google Sheets you can use to plan your trip. For Ayers Rock Uluru, you need to expect higher airfare costs as well as higher hotel prices. Most of the hotels belong to one hotel chain, so there's a bit of a monopoly. The exception is the stunning Longitude 131 Lodge, which is a very exclusive and pricey property options. But if you are on a trip of a lifetime, this place would definitely be my ultimate recommendation for Ayers Rock. If your travel plans are more budget focused, another suggestion is coming up very soon, so stay tuned. There are more itinerary planning videos about Australia to come, so check out the Australia playlist in the description box below for updates. If you fly into Ayers Rock from Cairns, your flight arrival will be early, so you can use part of this day to start exploring, such as the Sound of Silence dinner, an Aborigine experience, or any other afternoon or evening tour. For the first full day in the Ayers Rock and 𝗏𝗏𝗃𝗃𝗍 area, I would recommend an early morning guided tour to the Uluru, either a walking tour or a standard tour, and an afternoon 𝗏𝗏𝗃𝗃𝗍 trip and the Field of Lights experience. See a number of recommendations listed in the sample itinerary and the description box below. So as an alternative to Ayers Rock, there is another suggestion which is also more cost effective. You would fly into Alice Springs and do a day tour to Ayers Rock from here. This would be a very long day, like 14-16 hours, but you will experience the true Australian outback with a luxury coach. Also, there are multi-day tours available from Alice Springs. They include transport, tours and accommodation, which might be a good option for you to consider. If you only need a coach transfer from Alice Springs to Ayers Rock, this is possible too. You could then fly out of Ayers Rock to Sydney and any other location in Australia. One more thought is to hire a rental car, but costs are very high in this part of Australia. You can also expect one-way and remote location fees. They will apply by the rental car companies. Anyway, see the links in the description box below for rental car options. One more point about timing for this itinerary. You take a flight out of Ayers Rock or Alice Springs back to Sydney. Depending on your next travel plans, you might need to stay one more night in Sydney City or near the airport. So if needed, you can take out one day from 𝗏𝗏𝗃𝗃𝗍 and stay inside your 10 days or 9 nights time for Australia. Obviously, you could add another day if needed. Check out my other travel videos on Australia in the playlist up here. Thanks for watching. See you in the next video.